Hello again, and welcome back to the Broken Past. Today we have a bit of an interesting project on our hands. You can see here we've got one of the original Nintendo DS's. This is actually a Japanese edition, or Japanese version, which is okay because these are not region locked. So both the GBA games as well as the DS games will play both Japanese and English, so that doesn't matter. But what we're going to do today is we are actually going to work on trying to replace the top screen on this guy. So we can kind of see it in the video. Let's turn it on, we'll be able to see it a little bit better. And at this point we can see, if I zoom in a little bit, that this console appears to have, or the top screen appears to have some sort of decay or something in the screen. I'll go ahead and shut it back off here. That's resulting in just chunks of dead pixels all over the display. It seems like that's just kind of a common issue with these older DS's. Not entirely sure why, but we're going to give a shot at replacing them. This should be a pretty quick video because this is not supposed to be that hard of a project. So we are going to replace the screen with the screen out of another DS, which I have sitting right here. And at first glance, it doesn't look too bad. We can see that there are some cracks and stuff up here in the hinge, which happens on these older consoles. But this guy has a bigger problem, and that is that it's completely gone. The hinge is gone, the ribbon is ripped. This screen is toast, or this top part of it, I guess, is toast. However, the screen behind the protector doesn't look like it has any of those, chicken pox issues. And the great thing about the original DS is that unlike all the newer versions of it, the ribbon cable for the display does not actually go down into the lower part of the console. Inside of here, the display has a ribbon that will connect to another ribbon, and that ribbon is what ultimately runs down in here. So this ripped cable here should be the connector ribbon between the top and the lower display, which means that we can use this. Obviously I can't tell if the screen works. We'll hope that it does. We'll find out in the video. And we'll use this screen to replace the broken one back there. And in a follow-up video, we will take this guy, clean it up. We can see he's really disgusting and dirty, and turn this guy into a Macro XL. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, move that off to the side. Let's hit this guy here, and we're going to start with getting this screen out. So getting this out is, I've actually never done this. This is going to be kind of a learning experience for me as well. But it's supposed to be simply the 4 screws behind these bumpers and these sticker covers. The whole cover comes off, and then there's a few pieces to remove inside of there, and then the screen should completely remove. So let's begin. And let's see how this goes. This time I went ahead and grabbed my X-Acto knife just to get a little bit better control. This blade is actually pretty rusty. I haven't used it for a while, clearly. But I wanted a little bit more control in trying to get under here and pull these off without ultimately damaging this round. But that kind of looks like that might not work with this knife. So go back to our trusty iFixit tweezers here, which is working much better at removing these pieces. So get these guys out here. Top ones are easy, the bottom ones might be a bit more difficult. Or they might just come straight out. That's not bad at all. Let's hope we have the same luck with the one that we're moving it to, so we don't damage the front faceplate on that. Okay, with that done, we have our usual 4 Phillips screws here. These are slightly bigger screws than the DS Lite that we're accustomed to working on. from there, we should be able to simply take our spudger and work at separating these two halves. Just disengaging the clips all around and not re-engaging them as we work our way around here. And the back comes right off. So let's flip it over this way so it's, yeah, this way's okay. So we can see a couple things here. We have our main display sitting back here. And this is the ribbon cable on this one that has broken. But this connects to the underside of this board, and the display itself actually also connects to the underside of this board. So as long as this ribbon cable here is okay, we can reuse this screen. So to do that, it looks like we have a screw here. It's got a little bit of pressure on it to keep this ribbon cable in place. And rotate this guy out. And here we can see our traditional ribbon cable connector. And let's grab our tweezers here. And I believe there's actually two cables back here. One for the actual signal, and then the other one for power. It appears that this one simply remove this, and the cable will slide right out. And at this point, this additional ribbon cable appears to be stuck down. A little bit of adhesive here. This one I don't care if we ruin, but I want to make sure I know how this is held down before we get to the real one we're replacing it with. And I'll move the antenna, which is also broken, out of here. And this should probably have, oh, the speaker is completely desoldered too. This is probably going to be, oh, that's right, we have sort of a little spacer here, which will save, but it should be in the other one as well. And then, let's see, try a little wiggle trick here to start loosening it up. And it comes out like that. So I'm just taking a mental note here of which way everything sits, which is not too bad. Here's our screen that we're going to trust is still good, along with both ribbon cables. Set that off to the side. Get the rest of this off. And now we're going to do the same thing with our final console here. This will be a little bit trickier because because it's not completely disassembled, I can't lay it flat, but I think it'll be okay. I think we'll be able to do this even if it's not flat. Let's see if I can do this again around the camera and try not to rip these pads. And then the bottom two. And we'll do the same thing with these 4 screws. Making sure we provide some pressure to the screen so that so we don't break the hinge attempting to remove the screen. And I've actually never owned a original DS until just recently when I bought some of these broken ones online. So this will be kind of a fun thing to own, which is why I was excited to get one of these broken and one that just simply had a bad screen. So I could combine the two together and make a nice working one. This is a little bit intimidating on an old console because I don't want to. I've got to give it a good amount of force to get these clips to disengage, but I don't want to break the hinge while doing so. And lastly, got one more back here. There we go. Okay, now we're almost in the same state as we were on the other one. So first thing we need to do is disengage or remove the screw, which actually I see why there's no wires to the speaker, because that's just held down with the pressure of that screw. If I flip it over, there's the connectors right there that actually attach or that make contact with the speaker itself. So that's cool. That's cool how that works. So we're going to do the same thing here. Remove the upper ribbon cable. Kind of tuck it a little bit out of the way. Loosen that. Pull it out. And lastly, this one is going to make me a little bit nervous. We need to loosen up this guy without ripping the cable, which that came off without too much effort. Okay. Remove our spacer. I'm actually going to also go ahead on this one and remove the antenna. Just so all the wires are out of the way of the screen. So we can make sure that we can get the screen out of here without damaging anything else in the process. Let's see. Since I can't put a lot of torque on this one, this is a little bit more tricky. Just try to loosen up here. I can just pull the ribbon cable and just pull it straight out since the screen itself is bad. Kind of prefer if I didn't have to. This guy get a little bit of leverage, I guess. Now we can clearly see that, and the battery is almost dead on the camera, so we will push through, or we'll have to pause the video and let the camera recharge upstairs. So let's set this guy back in. Reinsert our spacer for alignment. Take our antenna. See if we can get this to re-stick. If not, I'll throw a little bit of tape down over there. And now we need to reattach these guys. And I should have paid attention. I'm not entirely sure how far in this cable actually goes. Based on the bend, I'm guessing that's about as far in as it did go. So we'll attach that. Reattach this guy and flip everything back over. And drop our last screw in here. And before I put the cover on, let's go ahead and let's just test. See if we did a successful swap of this guy. Moment of truth. That is a success. Awesome. Great news. So, let's turn that back off. I'm going to take a real little bit of packing tape here. I'm sure there's probably some better tape, but this will work for what we need. Set this back down. And we are secured. So we'll take our back cover. Line everything up. Gently re-engage all of the clips. Surround it. We have one. I have one hinge. It's not wanting to completely cooperate here. There. It's always terrifying, but now we're secure. Let's put our 4 screws back in. Race against the clock on the battery on the camera. And lastly, take our pads and reinstall them. Keeping note that the ones that stick out go on the top and the other ones go on the bottom. And we are done. Let's turn it back on once more. And give ourselves a thumbs up for a job well done. That is great. So, short and sweet, but for anybody who wondered about how to replace the top screen on a DS, original DS, now you know. And with that being said, thanks again for watching. Again, keep an eye out in the future. We'll be converting this to a Macro XL. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my first fully functioning original DS. So thanks again for watching and take care. Bye-bye.